Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Break YXE. I'm your host, Ian Roach. Thanks for joining us. Today is Tuesday, June 24th, 2021. Excited about the episode today. Our guest this morning is going to be Jeffery Straker. Jeffery is a Saskatchewan born singer, writer, pianist, and all round nice guy. Last night, Jeffery released on YouTube a video for his new song, for a new song he has called Ready to Be Brave. And Jeffery, I'll try and get the marbles out of my mouth. It's a really interesting video, and I watched it last night on the premiere, and it was not what I expected, but I was pleasantly surprised, and it's an interesting song worthy of a conversation. Also, Jeffery is one of the first musicians I know that is back on the road. We'll talk to him about what it's like to be back on the road and starting to tour, as hopefully the light is at the end of the tunnel for this pandemic that we're all living through right now. As always, this is your show. Please feel free to suggest questions or offer comments through your Facebook or YouTube comment fields that you're watching this episode on. And if we can, we'll try and use those on air. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And before I introduce Jeffery, a message from our sponsor. RDL Photos is your affordable local photographer for any occasion, with packages starting at just $40. Anyone can afford professional level photos for any occasion in life. If you're looking for the crisp new headshot or just want to get some photos of having fun with your friends, RDL Photos is the place to go. For more information, check them out online. Just type rdl.photos in your web browser of choice, or find him, and him is Riel. Find Riel at rdl.photos on Instagram. Book fast. Summer slots are filling up quickly, and for as low as $40, I think it'd be a great time to get out and get some photos of yourself, your family, or your friends. Okay, so that's the sponsor. Now, without any further ado, let me introduce all-around Saskatchewan nice guy, Jeffery Straker, and welcome to Coffee Break.
Hello, thanks for having me on Coffee Break, Mr. Ian Roach.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for letting me participate in a small way on your video launch last night. It was quite incredible to be there. You're a singer-songwriter. You released this video yesterday called Just Before Sunrise. We can't show the video here because if we did, the YouTube and Facebook algorithms would go nuts and say, warning, warning, copyright, you're gone. So we're not going to show it, but could you give me a synopsis of is the right word, plot line? What happens in the video?
Sure. So I mean, my record Just Before Sunrise has this song Ready to Be Brave, and the song itself, I'll start there. The song itself is really a song about mustering up the courage to have a difficult conversation, to address something that's been going on in your life, whatever that is, that's gone unaddressed, and you finally muster up the courage to come face to face with it, head to head with it. So the song was written in a way where hopefully any listener could insert themselves into it and find themselves in the song. But when you retell the story through a video, through the different medium, you obviously have to choose, okay, what's this specifically going to be about? And so working with Versa Films out of Saskatoon and director Dylan Hershuk, we chose a story. We chose a story that's set on a farm, and there's a father and a mother and a son. Really, the story hinges around the relationship between the father and the son, and they have this really close, obvious bond and a connection. Ultimately, the boy realizes he's gay, and set on a farm which is a bastion of tradition. Farms are where, things have been done a certain way for a very long time. And as I think about growing up on a farm myself, farms are kind of traditional places. The father and the son have to sort of deal with this. And the video talks to this. The way the story unfolds in the video, if people want to take a peek, is that a hired man is hired. He's a young guy. The son of the on the farm is a young guy. They ultimately develop an attraction. Not an impossible scenario, I'll tell you that much. And there's a kiss. And father kind of figures it out. He's not pleased, and the story goes on from there. And there's a real tension that gets created in the way this was so beautifully shot by Versa Films. Like the cinematography, which I have nothing to do with, so I can rave about it. It's gorgeous. And and the tension and the drama that they created in the filming is really wonderful. Ultimately, young Michael grows up. We follow him on his life to the big city, which is very possibly sort of Saskatoon, but it could be anywhere. And he goes home and has a conversation with dad. And, mom is present and sort of holds the whole thing up emotionally. And it's pretty beautiful. So that's kind of the synopsis.
There's a lot of themes, a lot to unpack, and I'm not sure we can get to it all in the 10 minutes we have. But
Yeah.
I think what you're showing is a conversation that I didn't really think about until I watched your video. Something like that has probably happened more times than we care to realize, or even worse, that the conversation has not happened. So by putting this video out here, is there something aside from the music and sharing? Is there something you're hoping that will happen? Are you hoping the conversation will come from this?
I do, like, being out and gay myself, and having grown up on a farm. This story, although not my story, it's not foreign to me. I've heard about this story from a lot of other people growing up, particularly in rural parts. But it kind of represents the trouble with the greater mainstream. Sort of not realizing, just like you said, like, these kinds of things happen all the time, and it's really difficult, and it holds people back. If you can't be yourself, if you're struggling, taking all this energy in you to either conceal or struggle with how much do you reveal, all that energy going on towards that can't be put towards something useful. You know what I mean? Like, and I wish I would have thought of this concept. I'm repeating something that I think is brilliant, but it's therefore not productive energy. And it takes so much energy from someone in this instance to ponder, do I reveal? Do I not reveal? Do I let my full self be known? Blah, blah, blah. It's kind of crazy that we have to go through this, but we do. And so hopefully when people watch this video, they realize, oh God, like just like you exactly said, oh gosh, I didn't realize this is something that goes on. So I do hope it's a bit of a tugger on a heartstring, and maybe opens a few eyes and hearts.
I don't know if we actually have come out and said it, but in the video at one point, you struggle with the characters, the main character, the son, and then you call it the hired man or the
hired man.
And they have a kiss in a barn.
They do.
And I thought, I haven't seen a lot of that on TV.
No.
And I started reflecting on, I could turn on Netflix and I could watch dozens of people die every night by gunfire. But for some reason, there's this. Should a gay kiss on camera be notable, controversial? Should it be something, or should it just be a matter of fact in 2021?
Like, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? And part of the reason why, as this storyboard and the script developed, when I realized, okay, there is going to be two boys kissing in a loft in a barn. I mean, I initially felt like, I was like, oh, is this okay? Like, I actually thought that, and I'm an out gay guy. And then I realized, of course it is. And talking to the director, Dylan, about this, he said, it's, as he said, and this is so true, it's just a kiss. But yet, one thing I find, and one of the reasons why I'm proud of this video for many reasons. One reason, though, is because it shows something that rarely gets shown. Like, people in the world, due to pride celebrations and all these sort of awareness building things, are really becoming okay with the notion or the theory that there's an LGBTQ community, but there's still a real hang up about same-sex affection. So two women or two guys walking down the street holding hands in Saskatoon or Regina, if I had a dime for every time I saw that, I'd probably have a dime. Like, it. And there's a reason why people don't do it. They're terrified. I hate to let people know it's still not okay. And so showing it, I think, is really important. Hopefully it opens people's eyes. They're like, oh yeah, this is a thing, and it's not that big of a deal. And look, it's just love. So hopefully that comes across.
A couple other things I want to note about it. One is I've got used to Disney endings, and this does not have one. I want to know. I want to be the fly in the room for the. Can I give it away? Can I give away a bit of the plot line? Like,
give it away. Yeah.
I want to be a fly in the room at the end for that conversation with dad, with mom there. It kind of ends. But after I got over that and yelled at the TV, but it's a brilliant ending.
Well, so the director Dylan, like that was his idea, and I mean, I love the open-endedness of it because you don't know what happens, but you get to, as the viewer, you get to fill in the blanks, right? And you're like, what happens? And I mean, I saw people commenting on the video saying, I wanted to know what happened. I wanted to know what happened, but the beauty of it is you don't know, and it kind of leaves you hanging, and that's kind of the whole point, you know. What would happen in your head? Why would that happen? You know. So hats off to Dylan for adding that bit. It's genius.
And by the way, if you haven't seen the video, I posted about 5 minutes ago in the comments a link to the video on YouTube. You can go there, and congratulations. I believe when I last checked, it's probably over now. You're over 2,000 views, or close to 2,000 views on YouTube. Congratulations on.
Thank you. That's great. And it's, I mean, I hope people share it and like it, and, you know, and like, because it has a message, you know, like, and also, like, I'm not even in this video. Like, it's the first time I've never not
you took my
been
next
in a
question.
video.
You're not in it.
Yeah. Like, because as this thing developed, I was going to have a cameo, and I was going to, you know, maybe be like this worker on the farm, or like, I don't know, something. And then, you know, like peeking through a window. But then I thought, you know, I think this story is really great on its own. I don't need to interfere with it. I'm singing the song. That's good enough. So I hope people, you know, take something from the story and are moved to share it. That's my big hope.
So that begs a question. I'm putting this question together in my head now as I speak it. So hopefully it's articulate. I recall from last night that you were kind of on set for a day and a half. And how did it feel to have this baby that you're giving creative control and license to somebody else, and to a certain degree that you're not there for the day to day in the shoot?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. It's a good question, because even when after a songwriter writes songs and then decides to work with a producer to bring them to life on a recording, that's the first step of giving your self away to someone else and being really vulnerable and saying, okay, you know, make this into what you're hearing in your head, you know. So I go through that all the time in making recordings, although that's a real back and forth. In this instance, then you're giving the song you recorded over to a director and saying, okay, you know, make something out of this. Now, Dylan and I work quite closely on the concept and the script. He was so collaborative, and a wonderful person to work with. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But still, I wasn't there for 2 days of the shooting, and I was often like, I wonder what this is turning out like. Like, you know, is it going to look like I hope it looks? And I had to just be like, well, it's going to be what it's going to be, which is very hard for me because I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to my creativity. But something about Dylan, like, I had such confidence in him and what he had surrounded himself with this cast and the crew. I was like, they'll do something.
Kudos to the cast and crew, shouldn't we, at this point?
We should, yeah.
You should.
Well, they're all Saskatchewan actors. Some of them had a lot of acting experience. Some of them only had a little acting experience, but they all really knocked the ball right out of the park. Like they're so convincing, and without saying anything, of course, except for the one line at the end of the video, they really make this whole thing so believable.
I don't want to take away from the main premise that this is about an issue that needs to be talked about, but could we look at this video saying not only around LGBTQ, I hope I said that right, issue, there's other difficult conversations that we need to have in our life, and we have to have the braveness, is that a word, to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that actually is the point. Like, when I wrote the song, that's the point of the song. I would submit that every single human being on the earth is avoiding some conversation. Like, there's all things we're tiptoeing around and tap dancing around and not addressing, you know, like, oh, look over here. And we're distracting ourselves from it with keeping ourselves overly busy, etc. This was one way we decided to talk about that. But I really do hope that through this lens, people will be like, you know, I've got this thing that I'm avoiding as well. Like, I hope that comes about. And often it's and these are all about relationships with people, probably family, probably a parent, maybe a sibling, etc. I wish we were all, you know, perfect at dialoguing and addressing and bringing things to closure. But as humans, we're terrible at that. So everyone has one of these conversations. I hope they see themselves in this.
I'm afraid we're almost out of time for that portion of the show. We're going to have to leave the video for there, because I want to talk to you about your pandemic tour. I think is that the official name or nickname?
It's the Pandemic Piano Backyard Tour. Yes, I would love to talk to you about that.
But before we do, we have to recognize another sponsor. So you can if I can beg your indulgence for a couple of minutes here, and we'll do a little sponsor thing and come back and talk about that. So here we go. Looking for something great to do near Saskatoon, want to get out of the city, bask in Saskatchewan nature? Take the family or a friend out to Petrovka Orchard. They have great cafe that serves homemade food, and oh my goodness, the food is good. A beautiful store full of gourmet apple and other local products, and a large variety of ice cream treats. They have these ice cream treats with I think it's made with soft serve, like tacos or cookies. It's amazing. After you fill your belly, take a walk on the riverfront to the riverfront beach and enjoy most beautiful walking trails around the orchard. Petrovka is located only 40 minutes north of Saskatoon, right on Highway 12 at the base of the Petrovka Bridge. They're open 10 to 6 daily. Just remember that the cafe is closed on Wednesdays. For more information, you can check out the website at petrovkaorchard.com. And Jeffrey, they have great cinnamon buns. You can go up and try the cinnamon buns if you're traveling through the area.
A cinnamon bun is my kryptonite.
It is. And don't even try to eat keto. They have Duca board bread. It's incredible. Anyway.
Okay.
The pandemic backyard tour.
Pandemic piano backyard tour. Yes.
Yeah, there's a piano there.
Yeah.
You're the first musician that I kind of know of that has announced a tour schedule. What's going on?
Well, so I mean, what is going on? So I mean, I'll start here and I'll back it up. I got 46 of these shows booked between June 12th and September 12th, mostly in backyards. And the reason is I did backyard shows last summer, like in full pandemic, because that's all we could do. Last summer we could have 30 people in a backyard, and that's what we did. In full disclosure, we often had 40 or 50, but who's counting? Anyways, this summer, in around February, looking forward to this summer, I was like, I gotta, because about 80% of my living as a touring musician comes from live performing. I was like, I have to do something. Like I have to sink or swim here. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do more of these backyard shows. So in February, I put a couple notices out to fans on Facebook and Twitter and said, hey, I want to do the backyard shows again. And I was beautifully overwhelmed with the response. And so these booked up really fast. Every weekend, every Thursday to Sunday is now booked into September. And I'm performing in backyards. And also some cities like Yorkton and the Yorkton Arts Council booked me last weekend to do shows in parks around the city as a way to bring live music back to people. And the turnout was really well. So I'll be trucking my piano between the Okanagan in BC over to Manitoulin in Ontario, a lot of shows in Saskatchewan, this summer doing these small shows as we hopefully ease out of this pandemic.
That's wonderful, and it's great. You mentioned you toured last year, but has the pandemic been difficult for you as a musician? Has it kind of has it made a pause or a break or a hiccup?
Yeah, it's been hard, though I felt like I really was saved. Because we all of a sudden, someone who for 16 years has done live performances as what I do. So like practically speaking, that's been my income. Emotionally speaking, it's kind of what I got used to doing. I kind of define myself as the guy who travels and performs, right? Then all of a sudden, nope, can't do it. So then what the heck do you do? It's like someone cutting your legs off, right? You're like, So then we had to pivot and do online shows, which were fine for a while, but we really obviously saw people get saturated with online things. They were spending the whole day at work on Zoom calls or whatever. And then they didn't really want to also then spend the evening watching an online concert. So I saw the power of online shows go from crazy good last May to kind of like so this past May. So but during that, my fans, the fan base that I built up, when I did my online shows, they were really generous in giving me donations, and I'm forever indebted to them. And that honestly really got me through the pandemic. Like I put up a donation link on my online shows, and people really donated, and it literally helped me pay my bills. So grateful to those wonderful folks for being so generous. So that got me through it. It was really hard. At the same time, I saw publicists, agents, tour promoters move back home with their parents. I saw people give up houses. I saw, venues go bankrupt. Like it's been horrible. But so hopefully now we're emerging from this and we can kind of sort of, ease our way back into it. And hopefully this is normal again.
One final question, then we will do a bit of a wrap. But can you describe for me and I'm assuming a lot of assumptions in this question. What was it like that first time this summer getting into somebody's backyard and playing before a live crowd? How did it feel
It
again?
honestly, I didn't expect what I felt. I literally vibrated for the whole first show. Like I physically tingled because because I didn't know what I had been missing. I didn't know that I'd forgotten the feeling. People in the audience also played that back to me. They came up to me and they were like, I didn't know I was going to feel that. Like I would submit as a sort of a bookend to that, music is a medicine and we all kind of need it. We can't, it's not a tangible thing to say it does X, Y, or Z for us, but it does something really powerful for us. And I think that is going to bring people back to live music as we get back into this.
Okay, given the nature of the type of tour, can I get a ticket to it, or is it private invite, or is how do I get to see you if I can?
Well, these are mostly by invite of the person hosting
Right.
me in their backyard.
Okay.
There are all the shows will be on my website, and there are a few public ones like in parks, etc. So if people want to check the tour calendar at jeffstraker.com, they'll see them there. Or if they want to reach out and have me come to their backyard and do a show, like do that too. If I've got space, I'll do it.
Okay, jeffstraker.com. You can go there. Is a tour in support of your new album, which we haven't talked about, Just Before Sunrise?
Yeah, I'm singing a lot of songs from this new record, the new record Just Before Sunrise. And it's funny how with every record, there's songs that kind of emerge as the ones that people want to hear the most. I'm already discovering those. But of course, I'm singing some of my old songs too, because people have some of those that they often email me in advance and say, can you sing this one at the show? So, it's a real mix, but I kind of focus on the new songs because, every time you put out a new record, you want to sing the new songs, and new songs that feel a certain way in your house when you write them, but they feel very different with an audience. And I enjoy experiencing the newness.
Okay, so Ready to Be Brave, released last night on YouTube, and there's the URL. I call it URL before, and people make fun of you. That's a mountain chain, I guess, but it's called URL. There it is. There. It's also in the comments, and the album is Just Before Sunrise. Can we go to Jeff Straker? Can we buy physical media?
Yes, I have CDs and vinyl and even T-shirts available on my website. Yes.
It's wonderful news.
It's 1970.
Jeffrey, just thank you so much for coming here, and congratulations on the release of your video. Congratulations on the album. Congratulations on the tour. Before I let you go, I want to recognize some breaking news that happened just before we went to air, and I meant to do it off the top, but it wasn't in the script. But Chief Cadmus Delorme of the Cowessess First Nation announced this morning at a news conference just after 9 a.m. the discovery, I guess, the finding of 751 unmarked graves. He went to great lengths to indicate that these are unmarked graves, not a mass burial, that they got approximately 751 hits. Within the margin of error, there's about 10% margin of error. And they think that this was an organized burial, 1 by 1 meters, but unmarked. And he did say later on his comments, it was a Zoom meeting, covered by international media. I think the first question went to a reporter out of Germany, but he said they are treating it as a crime scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really it's overwhelming.
It is, and I'm losing my voice when I talk about it. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, and I don't know how, you probably have a couple of minutes here, but I mean, like I listened to it too. I listened to it just before we joined here. It's overwhelming. The obviously the sort of the first one was in Kamloops when they found that they just used the technology to uncover the 215 graves. And the interesting thing about Cowessess is, as the chief said, was that they've known for years from the oral tradition that there were lots of graves there. What they kind of think from oral tradition that in addition to children, there's adults here too. It's just there's all these graves, and now and there's an interesting tidbit about the notion of truth and reconciliation. We can't reconcile until we know the truth. And there's this truth that is now coming out. And it's the scope of these numbers that I think is really making people, I think I'll say, finally pay proper attention to what went on.
And I have mixed feelings about that. I mean, my kids went to a local school here, and as far as I know, I can walk around the schoolyard. There's 0 graves. So
right,
one child grave is too many, but 751 is significant, is too many. And I think now we can, and I think some leaders are starting to use the word genocide. It may be appropriate. Here at No YXE, we're going to try and figure out a way to cover this with dignity and cover it respectfully, knowing what our role is as we move forward. So that's it. I hate to end on that note, but there's really no other segue other than to recognize that, and I appreciate you staying on with me for a couple more minutes to recognize that.
Yeah, yeah, and everyone should take a bit of time to read and learn and understand this more. I reached out to a friend of mine from Gordon's First Nation who was a schoolmate of mine in Punashai. She's now a counselor on Gordon's First Nation, Angie McNabb, and she's giving me some really great advice and videos to watch, and we've talked back and forth, and it's been really wonderful. And what I've learned is that the more you dig into this and just understand it, it's really helpful. I mean, it takes a lot of learning because we've had a lot of things kind of not told to us over the years, and the more you learn, you realize, wow, this is something we all have to work on together.
Jeffrey, I think we should leave it there. And yes, you're right. Do your own research, recognize it. Part of reconciliation is the truth, and we all have to find the truth together on our own path. Thank you so much. In muted tones, I'll say all the best with your tour. And I look forward to following you on Facebook and seeing where your summer takes you.
Thank you for the chat.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
That's Coffee Break YXE for Tuesday, June 24th. Thank you so much for listening and watching. It's 10:30, so in approximately 75 minutes, I'm going to say. Linda Walker is by with Sportsline YXE. Coffee Break YXE is going to return Tuesday. Next week, we only have one show because Thursday, Canada Day, and I'm taking Canada Day off. But next week, Tuesday at 10 a.m., we'll be back here with Coffee Break YXE. Thanks for watching.